In South Carolina, hurricane season is remembered less by statistics than by names: Hugo, Ian, Idalia, and Helene. The storms are different, but the question each spring is the same. How active is the Atlantic likely to be, and what could that mean for us? That's why one of the best-known seasonal forecasts in the country isn't issued from the coast, but from Colorado State University. CSU's Atlantic Outlook began in 1984 under Dr. Bill Gray.
It really goes back to the legacy that he kind of created. And then this department started to attract more hurricane scientists. And so then there was kind of lots of different ways of looking at hurricanes. There's been a lot of good theoretical hurricane work done here where it's not focused on forecasting, but really understanding the physics within the storm.
And today the work is led by Dr. Phil Klotzbach, who has authored the forecast since 2006. The team uses global climate signals, ocean temperatures, pressure patterns, and model guidance to estimate how busy the basin may become. That basin-wide perspective is especially useful in South Carolina, where a storm does not have to make the strongest possible landfall to leave a deep mark. Hurricane Hugo remains one of the defining disasters in state's history, according to the National Weather Service. Hugo is part of why hurricane forecasting carries a different emotional weight here. It's not theoretical. It's generational memory. In 2024, Helene brought widespread destruction across the upstate and Midlands, with impacts so broad that for many residents, the comparison was not just to Hugo, but to a storm that in some communities felt even more disruptive. NOAA says South Carolina was affected by $101 billion weather and climate disasters from 1980 through 2024. That doesn't mean every one was a hurricane, but it does show how often the state sits in the path of high-end weather losses. That's why part of a seasonal outlook from CSU draws attention well beyond meteorology circles. Forecasts like this are used as an early risk signal by media, emergency planners, and insurers, even though they're not track forecasts for individual storms. And that may be the most important distinction. Colorado State isn't trying to tell South Carolina where the next hurricane will hit. It's trying to estimate how favorable the Atlantic looks for storm development before the season ramps up. In a state where one storm can rewrite the coastline and where recent systems have shown the danger is still very real, that kind of early warning carries real value, no matter how far the forecast office is from the salt water. For South Carolina Public Radio, I'm meteorologist Leslie Hudson.